You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Podcast Network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
Welcome to the Boss Hog of Liberty podcast. This is episode number 218 of East Central's favorite podcast. Jeremiah Morrell here, joined by Dakota Davis and our special featured guest who brought some terrifying peppers with him, which we forgot to talk about on our Patreon. Yeah. Darrin Jacobs is here. What are we doing today, D Squared?
Today's episode features, like Jeremiah said, Mr. Darrin Jacobs. Darrin is no longer a county employee, so save your gripes and complaints in the comments section for later. We're going to be talking to Darrin about the Henry County government and the crisis of employee pay that they're currently facing, the situation with Governor Andrew Cuomo in New York, and then school dress code problems based on a write-up that was in the Courier-Times, local schools and mainly young women facing problems with the school dress code. So make sure you stick around until the very end to hear all of that.
We're going to get through it all, and God only knows what else along the way. This show is about our lives in rural Indiana. We're here to push your boundaries and make you think as individuals. Sometimes we'll provoke you, other times we'll make you laugh, but hopefully you'll always learn something new. Just did a Patreon recap that talked about our pandemic adventures. Dakota visited the fair. I went to Nashville again. I nearly killed myself on a scooter. All contained in the Patreon. That's brought to you by a number of special folks, but some really premium folks, D.
That's right. If you donate at $50 or more a month, then you get a shout out at the front of each and every episode. Those folks are Miss Christy Avery from all the way in Fort Wayne, Indiana, our favorite car dealer in all of the United States, continental United States. Mr. Jonathan Phillips.
Do you have a more preferred one in Hawaii?
And then we have our savior truck driver, Mr. Anthony Meyer. And then, of course, the Fiddler's Green Cigar Company, the premier cigar company in Newcastle, Indiana, and Mobile Cigar Lounge. Contact Chris Lamb for all of your tobacco needs.
I spilled my whiskey all over me.
We also have T-Chip
I'm never going to be able
stores.
to drive home like this.
T-Chip is where you can get all of your Boss Hog of Liberty merchandise in tchip.com/BHOL1, 2, 3, or 4 or BHOL mug. We also have the link tree and all of the links that are on the Boss Hog of Liberty website, bosshogofliberty.com. It's a premier new website. It's beautiful. It looks great.
I was drinking this for my friend Mark Gillespie of the Whiskey Cast and John Ranjow of the Prude with my Tanner's Creek bourbon there. And I would love to blame my cup, my beautiful Dainty Daisy Boss Hog of Liberty tumbler, but I'm pretty sure that was just human error. I think I just literally dumped it sideways, and you can't beat gravity.
What a shame.
I just started drinking.
I'm drinking out of a Dainty Daisy tumbler without a lid, and I haven't spilled anything on me.
Was there anything in there?
But also not right now.
It's empty.
Speaking of it being empty, I was gifted a beer from my tattoo artist, Mr. Zach Lohorn.
What do you got?
I went and got a tattoo from him, and the man gave me something. It's not usually how
when you buy a very premium product, it does come with some perks.
That's true. It's a Sammy Terry beer.
Sammy Terry?
Yeah, Sammy Terry, like TV.
Yeah.
You remember Sammy Terry?
No,
Grandpa
that's
talked
way
about him.
before my time. My grandpa did have.
I knew it. I knew that had to be what it was.
My grandpa did tell me about him. Yeah.
He did it. He did show me Sammy Terry because he would be on TV sometimes whenever I was a kid. He came. I remember when he came and visited the Newcastle Library when I was a kid.
I remember when Cowboy Bob came to the Newcastle Kmart.
Oh my God!
There's two double nostalgia right there.
Did you guys roll up in your Plymouth?
Maybe in the station wagon.
He didn't come to the library. He came to the Castle Theater.
Ooh, wow!
Yeah, so maybe
Of
Maybe
all
I'm
of the
starting
things-
to get old here.
Of all
Like,
of the things referenced, I think only the library still exists.
Yeah.
You have to thank government
Wow.
for that. Everything else is outdated and the market got rid of it.
It's a citra hopped Kolsch with a touch of flesh and blood from Scarlet Lane Brewing here in Indiana.
Are they allowed to sell flesh and blood?
Anything goes.
As long as you paid your taxes on it, it's probably fine.
It doesn't look like there's much blood in it.
Minimal blood.
Just the right amount to be able to say that there's technically blood in it. All right. We got some merch. There's some, you need your mask again. So there's the BHOL 1, 2, 3, and 4 and mug. You can go to the website, pull it up. There's a link tree in there with all of your here order it stuff.
That's right.
Cool t-shirts, long sleeves. It's almost hoodie season. If you order now, you can get your hoodie in time.
Oh,
About 2 weeks from now, I'm going to the UP of Michigan, and I'm pretty sure it's hoodie season up there already.
Probably.
Going to be on a lake on Lake Superior. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like 58
you know
degrees.
What they say, like she never gives up her dead.
Not dead yet. They don't say that. Gordon Lightfoot says that.
How good is that song, though? That's a really good song.
It's not even my favorite Gordon Lightfoot song.
What is your? I don't know if I know any other Gordon.
Sundown. I think Sundown is far superior. Yeah.
This is pretty good.
Oh.
Superior.
I'm just glad I made Dakota laugh.
There's not very many times you get to reference that song. I love that song. I listen to it all the time. It's just a really good song.
How broken are you?
It's a good song. It's got all of the elements of a good song. It's got good melody. It's got a chorus. It's just
30 minutes long.
So if you were going to be within 20 minutes of the Shipwreck Museum.
Oh, yeah.
And there were pieces of the boat there.
I would love to do that one. I would take a trip there just for that. You kidding me?
Because we're going. I don't know if we're going to go to the museum or not.
To see part of the Edmund Fitzgerald?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, there's this freighter that went down 50 years ago. Let's go look at some old rusty boat parts.
It's cool. You can, I've read all about the Edmund Fitzgerald and some of the captain's last radio calls. It's just chilling. It's cold. But it's a cool story.
Darrin, would you do it? Family vacation. Would you be the guy that says, "Hey, 30 miles up the road is the Shipwreck Museum. Can we go?" Do you have the pull in your family to derail it?
No, I don't feel like it would have to be literally right in front of us where I'd say, let's just go in here real quick. Yeah, I don't think
Audrey would go.
The extra length. No, not going to happen.
Now I didn't even know there was a museum.
Yeah.
I really want to go.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Hang on, let me find out how close I'm going to be. You can carry the show for a moment.
Yeah. This is not what was on the show notes, but
no,
I'm glad we're talking about it.
This is it's in of course it's in Chippewa County, Chippewa Bay, right? Mm-hmm. Whitefish Point, Paradise, Michigan.
Okay, where are you going?
I'm going to go to Munsing, Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. We're efforting the answer here to see how close, but I think it's like 20 miles.
What a lot of people don't understand about Lake Superior is that it's like an ocean.
Yeah, all the Great Lakes are like an ocean.
It's like, I don't think that if you've never gone to one of the Great Lakes, then you don't understand like just how big they are. Like if you step onto the beach, if you go up to the brand new national park in Indiana.
We're staying at Tequamanet Falls State Park, 22 miles or 29 minutes away from the Great Lakes
gosh, dude, you have to go. Look at where it's at. It's right on the end of the like.
It's
it'd
on
be
the
really
point.
cool. It's right on the end of the peninsula.
So you fully vote yes.
You have to go.
The Morrell
If you
Potter
don't go,
family
I'm gonna
vacation has to go and report back.
You'd be pretty upset if you don't go.
It's pretty far north, buddy.
You're gonna have to bring him back a T-shirt.
I gotta go to the Shipwreck
Yes.
Museum and get him some boat parts or something.
Bring me back a bolt.
Can you get me a life vest? What's left?
I'd be happy with a washer.
How about I get you some dirt from the beach, some sand from the beach at Whitefish Point?
A rivet.
A rivet. So you want me to bring something back?
Yeah,
Because I can do that. If I sell
pay you
it,
for
if I
it.
sell it as its content, I'm going to need fuel and mileage to get up there from Newcastle. It's like 1,700 miles round trip.
I'd pay you for whatever you bring me back. Is what I'm saying. I will pay you for the gift.
What kind of a friendship do we have? This sounds very transactional.
Yeah, if you
Paying
give
for a
me a
gift.
T-shirt, I'll give you the Venmo.
All right. Well, there's a very good chance we'll make it happen.
As long as it's not like $60 or something.
Oh, now we put stipulations on it.
I'm not gonna pay
Hey, man,
that.
I got to pay in Canadian. We're north of most of the Canadian population up there. It's way
How
the hell
cool
up
is
there.
that you get that? Why are you guys going there?
To visit the Shipwreck Museum. Why does anybody go anywhere? We're going on vacation to the UP.
You're just going camping?
We're going to go camping, and we're going to go see the pictured rocks and whatever.
If you're going camping, you're just going to be chilling out. Then you have
We're
have 2 hours to go to the shipwreck.
We're renting
museum.
a pontoon boat and we're taking it on Lake Superior for like a day.
Oh,
that's
that'd be cool.
that's the big thing that we're doing.
You
is
could go
seeing that.
park the pontoon at the shipwreck museum.
Jesus. Well, the shipwreck. I don't think you understand. Once again, we'll go back to the size.
The wreck happened. Go up.
Where did the wreck happen?
Up here.
I think it happened down at Whitefish Point. People can Google this on
northern part.
Oh, you're drunk. He's drunk already.
That's where they were trying to get out of the storm because the storm is coming up from the south, and they were trying to make it into Canada, and then they didn't make it. But there was another boat that they saw, and the other boat was the one that came up and discovered the wreckage. They could see the lights.
I think you're wrong.
They went down. They saw the lights.
I think you're wrong. Darren, can you yell at him for me? Tell him he's wrong. Whether he's wrong or
about
right.
what?
Where it's at.
Now I just want to listen to the song again.
I think it's right there. Yeah, it's just off there. It's mapped on Google Maps.
That's north.
It's just but it's not way the hell out in the lake. It's like right there at the point.
No, yeah, it's not as north as I thought it was.
It's we're going to do the Google. You can do the distance, and then we're going to move on to whatever the hell we're supposed to be talking about today. 10 mimiles.
They were so close.
17 miles from the 17 miles from that point.
They were so close. They almost made it. It's really sad. It's a sad story. It's crazy. I mean, you don't think about stuff like that happening on a lake. It's wild. I think
There's
it's an
hundreds
interesting
and
story.
hundreds of ships that have gone down in that lake.
I
In
know,
fact,
but it's
like
just-
on the tour of what we're doing on the pontoon boat when we go,
that's why
we're
it's
supposed to be
not
able to
the
go
Edmund
over a
Fitzgerald.
shipwreck and look at it.
It's not an Edmund Fitzgerald museum. It's a shipwreck museum.
Right.
Yeah.
But
not-
Gordon Lightfoot is the reason you know.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
of his
that's
great song
important.
Sundown and
But
then
also,
the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
They've got a lot of other like historical documents that are attached to the Edmund Fitzgerald because of the song. So you can find out a lot about the Edmund Fitzgerald because it's so popular from the song. And that's why you know.
I don't think
to
I've
know so
ever
much of the
heard
story.
Dakota as passionate about something as he is about the Edmund Fitzgerald.
I really love that song. It's in my Spotify playlist.
218 episodes, and this is the most
How
excited
about
I've ever
Carefree
heard
Highway?
him.
Do you have any emotional attachment to Carefree Highway?
No, I don't know. Like I said, I know no other Gordon Lightfoot songs. I just know the Edmund Fitzgerald.
I am so amused. Let's just tear the notes up. I know we were going to talk about Cuomo and everything else, but
Just a
There's a
full
little-
episode about the Edmund
there's a-
Fitzgerald.
part of Dakota's brain that I am just blown away by.
Listen, if I find something like that song that really strikes a chord with me and I love it, then I get obsessed.
No, wait.
I just get, you know me.
Where's your
You
Edmund
know-
Fitzgerald tattoo? I mean, you've got a song
Yeah.
tattoo.
I do have a tattoo of a boat going through waves.
See, you're gonna have to
What is that?
retroactively put.
What does it
Edmund Fitzgerald.
mean?
Doesn't say. I'd never heard the song when I got the tattoo though. I got that tattoo
You weren't raised on that song?
6 years ago.
When did you learn about the song?
Probably 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't heard it. Probably when I heard that song whenever I got back into like older music. So like classic rock. I started listening to like Van Halen again, and then Spotify recommended this song to me. Hey, Goosebumps.
Goosebumps.
Such a good song. Ooh.
Is he still alive?
I think he's still around. Just instrumentals with Dakota is all we got here. What a mess. This
Makes
show.
me feel a certain kind of way. when I-
Darren asked us before we started, what did you guys have planned? And the secret is, Darren, we were going to do the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Then you self-booked yourself. And I'm like, oh, let's do both. We're just going to lie to Darren and talk about shipwrecks all episode.
Great.
God dang it. So there are peppers on the table. You were here you weren't here. You were in Dakota's house.
Yeah,
like
that was the
4
last
years
time.
ago, 3
Yeah.
years ago. Back when Chase used to hang out with us, I guess he's nearly a hero, a journeyman now, so he's not allowed to see us anymore.
Audrey used to come on.
And Audrey used to come on, and we all ate them. And
look at that. That looks mean, right? Did you grow this?
Mm-hmm.
These are all grown by Darrin. And
did it grow like this just on its own?
Just on its own.
It's Moreland Fair season, so you've got chili peppers, which are on the hard right side of the of the camera shot. If you're watching the YouTube video or the Facebook
the
video,
Nazis of the situation on the far right there.
Now these are all measured in Scoville units, right?
Right.
What's the number? A regular.
We should have looked this up.
We can look it up as we're going here. So
it's the weakest on the right, and
Right.
the strong was on the left.
Yeah.
Usually it's the opposite in other situations.
So these are going to be hotter. So these chilies are going to be hotter than
jalapeno or whatever.
A jalapeno would probably be what most people. So a jalapeno, and then maybe like a serrano is next.
So we're looking here. A serrano is like between 5,000 and 15,000. And are those Thai hot peppers? Is that what those would be considered?
I can't remember exactly what these were.
Cayenne,
cayenne pepper, Tabasco.
These are cayenne.
And I think
the curly ones.
These were probably like a Thai chili.
So a cayenne pepper is supposed to be somewhere in the 30 to 50,000 unit range. Your average jalapeno pepper is like 2,500.
Right. So
we are 10 times a jalapeno pepper at your mildest that you brought us. And then you brought the middle one has been here before.
Well, these are habaneros, and the ones I brought last time were store bought. I grew these, and these are hot. I eat a habanero and a serrano every day with dinner. But these that I grew in the garden are hot for me. I was shocked when the first time I ate one of these. It was like,
so
whoa.
A habanero pepper is supposed to range between 100,000 and 350,000. So there is a massive range difference. So maybe you got these on the 350,000 range.
These are on the hot side.
And then last time you were here, you brought us ghost peppers. And those were between 850 and 1.4 million.
I think that we discussed last time, and we were saying they were 1 million, what we were eating.
And then you've now brought Carolina Reaper peppers, which are shriveled up and
Evil
terrifying looking.
Evil looking.
And those are 2 million.
Yeah.
Look at the tail.
2 million. Have you eaten one of those straight up?
I have not eaten one straight up. I've got one. I've actually been eating one. I cut it up and have been eating it the last 2 days.
Raw?
I just eat it with my food. Just
you put it in eggs? What do you put it in?
No, it's just when I'm eating. Like yesterday, I had steak and vegetables, and so I just
Did you
take a
wash
little
these?
piece. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not. I thought it was like oil coming out of it.
No, I washed them, and they were in that
concerned.
plastic bag, so they were probably a little wet. Damp.
So, how do you preserve these? Do you eat them raw, or you take them and you turn them back into a sauce?
Yeah, so
that's kind of what you were telling us previously. Is that you take them and that's how you save them, so you don't have to use them all right now.
I dry some, so I've been drying them. Last year, I dried a lot of my kind of the cayenne in the oven, and so I've still got a bunch of those dried. I freeze them. They work really well to freeze if you're going to use them in a sauce. So like the hot peppers, the really hot stuff, I'll freeze, because if you put stuff in the oven, which is how I dry it, it also tends to put off some fumes. So people aren't real happy. My family's not super happy when I'm drying peppers. So I probably won't dry the really hot stuff.
Garage?
Can I use my jerky maker, my regular dehydrator?
Any dehydrator. Yeah, you could do that. I've never tried it with the dehydrator, but I know people do it.
So do you cut them open, cut them in half, lay them out?
Think so. With the smaller ones, in the oven, I just leave them whole. But I think with the bigger ones, you probably could do it either way, but I think you probably want to cut it open. But and then I make sauce. I make sauce all year round, but I definitely like eating them when they're fresh.
I feel like just drying one or two and throwing it in some chili this fall. I mean, one of those is probably more than enough.
My God. Yeah.
For a pot of chili.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Enough to take down a whole army.
You haven't had chili yet this year?
It's August, buddy.
It was 90 degrees outside with 95% humidity. You haven't had chili yet?
I've had chili like twice this year already.
I mean, it's a spring thing. It's fine. I think I had my first pot of chili last year.
I think that we had it literally 2 weeks ago.
I had my first pot of chili last year in September. So that's about football season. When they start playing football for real, that's when we can do it. Is that what? Do you have a chili calendar, Darrin?
I would have to say fall. I mean, yeah.
Fall and winter.
Yeah.
Same thing with like ham and beans or something. Those are winter activities.
It's cold. It's when it's really cold.
It's when you throw your crock pot on.
Right.
That's when you do it. That's when I would do it. All right. So we've got the peppers that I am simply not man enough to try this year.
This year.
So sad.
This episode. Yeah, this year's crop. I am.
Wow.
I didn't have.
Darrin, if you're okay with it, I might take one of these home.
Okay.
And one of these home.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm probably eating that tomorrow on my eggs.
Why don't you just have that one now?
I don't want to eat it now because I don't want to not be able to talk. I don't know how hot it's going to be, so I just want to save it for the morning. I like eating spicy things in the morning. I feel like it gives you a boost.
Yeah.
You know? So like after the spiciness wears off, you're like, okay. Like, wow.
So I was telling you that on July 4th holiday, we went to Nashville.
Yes.
So that's the first time I've ever had Nashville hot chicken. So we went into Hattie B's and my family, we wanted to go there. So we go and
I finally got to Hattie B's myself this last
first
trip.
time.
Yeah, I've been to the parking lot before, but I never made it in.
We waited an hour. I was ready to go, and my wife's like, "Hey, we wanted to do this, so let's just go ahead and stay." So luckily we did, and everybody liked it. Everybody liked the food, but my family all got like mild or
no
plain.
Yep.
And so they all order, and then I order, and it's
you go big hot.
It's a shut the cluck up.
Yep.
So I order shut the cluck up, and the lady looks at me and says, that's really hot, don't you? I said, I know. I said,
I've been training for this my whole life.
If I don't like it, I can always throw it away. So we get it, and there's a little bit of like nervousness because you don't know. I don't know how hot this is. I mean, this is supposed to be their super hot thing. And so I get it, and I just start eating it. And I mean, there's heat there, but immediately I'm like, this is cayenne pepper. This is not, I guess I was expecting something.
You thought they were going ghost pepper.
You were expecting.
I was expecting something hot. And to me, that wasn't hot. And meanwhile, like the people sitting next to the table next to us are like, boy, this mild is really making me sweat. Okay.
Do any of your kids get into the hot peppers?
No, nobody will. My son will eat stuff a little bit spicier. Like they'll eat a little bit of spice.
Why did you start liking the hot stuff?
When I changed what I was eating. So
when all of a sudden he had to find his joy in heat.
Exactly. When I couldn't eat sugar anymore, I found a replacement in heat.
The guy that came up with the Carolina Reaper, have you seen the
That's where those come from. So Smoking Ed, he partnered up with Bonnie Plants, and that's who we ordered them from this year. So those are from Smoking Ed's. That's his strain. So yeah, and anybody who watches Hot Ones knows Smoking Ed and the sauce and stuff that he made with those Carolina Reapers.
Wasn't he a drug addict?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I watched a documentary, and he was either addicted to some kind of a drug or he was an alcoholic, one of the two. And then he found his love of spicy stuff, and he's like, chasing the spice has replaced chasing the high. And like, that's how he stays sober.
There's definitely an addiction. I mean, your body has a reaction to it. So it's almost like a runner's high or anything else.
Are you allowed to save the seeds, or does Monsanto come after you if you do?
I've been trying. I guess I tried to grow some this year, and I tried to start earlier. I am not like I'm not a gardener. I mean,
are you doing these in pots or in the backyard?
A little bit of both. We got pots and we got a little plot that we grow.
A topsy-turvy?
Yeah, we got a little place next to the house where we grow tomato plants and some of these. But I grow them in pots too because I find it's easier for me anyway. But I tried from seeds. I got them to sprout, and I screwed something up and killed them all before. So yeah, we ended up buying all the plants. But I'm trying. I tried to save some seeds again, and probably will try again next year to get them to sprout because it's a little salty to try to buy the Carolina Reapers. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was
I'm
a little
sure
more than the $5.99 plant that you're going to get real king.
So it was a good thing they fruited.
Yeah.
How many did you get?
I bought 2 Carolina Reaper plants. I had 2 ghost pepper plants. I didn't even bring ghost peppers because they're not quite. I got one that's about to mature. So I planted 2 ghost pepper plants, and then I've got 2 of the cayenne and 1 of this, and 1 habanero.
So is that all of your Reapers?
No, it's just what I brought.
Okay.
These are the ones he's willing to sacrifice.
Yeah, I brought these. You guys
one.
you guys can have one. That's
Okay.
not a big deal.
I was starting to feel guilty for being like, I'm taking this home.
No.
And you being like, it was really expensive.
No. This is fun.
That's why he brought him in. He wants to share them. His
pain.
family won't do it with him. That's why he texted this morning going, hey, man, these are ready. And I said, well,
ready. No, I'm
come on
glad
the
to
show.
share.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
And then I got my chicken shit
This
here.
is the meanest habanero I've ever seen.
It has warts.
They are mean. I was.
It's so crazy. They don't have much of a smell.
No.
Like bell peppers have
Yeah.
a smell. You smell a bell pepper.
My favorite.
These are like, just bite. Just take a bite.
I like the heat, obviously, but when you get really hot, the flavor's just not as good.
Yeah.
I mean, the pepper that I like the best is a Serrano, which is the closest to like a bell pepper. I mean, it has that bell pepper kind of, but it doesn't have the heat. So
you don't want to enter these in a contest though? Like you don't the Moreland Fair, the Indiana State Fair. You don't want to grow these and enter in the end. And I mean, I feel like this is your thing, Darrin.
I should, yeah. I need to.
You timed it exactly right. The fair is this week.
But I told you I don't have a good green thumb. I don't know that I could grow like the biggest Carolina Reaper.
I'm pretty sure that if you enter a plate of five peppers, they're going to go, oh shit.
Look at this.
Because some judge has to taste them.
You're telling
that's
me
worth the entry fee alone.
that this baby right here wouldn't earn a blue ribbon?
Those grew really big, and it's to get through a whole one of those. It's a little just in your normal kind of eating with dinner. It's a little much.
This has a certain type of appetizing look to it. Like you look at this, you're like,
plop it in your mouth, Dakota.
I feel like this
That
is like
looks
Tide
tasty.
Pods. I just before the end of
he
the
wants
night,
it so bad.
He's gonna
the forbidden fruit.
He's gonna as we sign off. That's gonna be his final thought: is eating one of these.
throw it
things.
in. Just
This, you look at it and you're like, oh, that'd kill me.
it
Now,
looks
when you're
like
saying
the devil.
this, you're talking that is
I'm
the
talking
Reaper
about the Reaper.
Yeah,
versus the
it even has like
the
little,
basic habanero.
Just it looks like
It looks like it started decomposing. It's so hot and dry; it's drying itself out from the inside. Is what looks like has happened.
Now,
But you can tell they're fresh. The stems are completely green. They're completely fresh.
I'm looking forward to the cayenne. Like, I know what cayenne peppers taste like. They taste good. They have a good flavor. They're hot, but they have a good flavor to them. Habaneros also have a little bit of a decent flavor.
I know how Dakota can get in trouble at home. You dry these at home in the oven. And then do you have a coffee grinder or a garlic press that Audrey likes to use? Grind the peppers in her coffee press, in her coffee grinder.
I'm the only one that uses a coffee grinder, though.
Or in a garlic press. Yeah. Something she uses, and then just put it back away and don't clean it. And you will be in so much trouble.
That's a bad idea. Why would you even say that? That's not a good idea.
I'm just trying to
get people in trouble.
I'm just trying to light the spark. All right, county employees.
Yep. Now that
big article I saw, it was on the local, I believe ABC affiliate, maybe I'm Run Burgundy, that Henry County Sheriff's Department was quoted for their recent departures, losing folks to university police, losing folks to a number of different local police departments because the wage scale in Henry County has gotten to be so far below even other government entities that we're having a retention issue.
Right.
Yeah, and Darrin, as a former government employee in Henry County, I think that you're far more qualified to speak on this issue than what any of us are. And we had talked a little bit before the show, your old job, if to be competitive with other counties, what kind of a pay increase would we be looking at?
15-20% at least.
Yeah, I think that the State Planning Association, I think, did a study, here a while back, and I think that the average was more in the, so that job paid, and I don't mind telling, but that job paid a little over $40,000 a year. And I think that they were averaging more in the upper 60s, maybe even lower 70s. I did a look here.
So you need a 50 to 60% increase to get back in line with where it needs to be.
I looked at a couple of counterparts recently, just when this conversation came up, and the conversation about them having difficulty filling the position after I left, and saw that a lot of planning directors, I saw in the 70s and the 60s. I think the lowest I saw was 55. So, 15,000 lower. And I think, to me, looking at that shows, and I know that they had a market rate study done by Wagner, Irwin, and Shealy, and I've looked at that overall across the county because it shows that every county employee is below market rate, comparing them to other government employee jobs. But I think that was even low, and I think you can see it now with across the board that the county employees are paid below what other county employees are paid. That's why you're seeing sheriff's deputies leave. That's why you're seeing other county employees. I'm not the only one. There's others that are leaving.
So what we've seen, I guess there's two conversations. There's the thought of, okay, if you're going to go be a government employee, you're going to be paid less than you are in the private sector. Right. That's a known. But now what has become an issue this year as we're getting into this budget cycle for the Henry County Council is that Henry County government is paying well below the wage rates of any other government entities around us.
Yeah,
you're losing talent because of that.
Yeah, I could have left Henry County. This actually was posted, I think, after I had left. But there was the number 2 position over in Hancock County.
Our next county to our west.
Next county to our west was paying, $20,000 more than what I was making here to go to a
less stressful job theoretically.
Right. In the next county over. And I could see where sheriff's deputies could possibly be in the same boat. Now, to your point, obviously anybody who goes into government work is going to understand that they're not going to be the same as somebody in the private sector, but there's usually the assumption that there's some benefits. Maybe it's a pension like PERF, maybe the insurance is a little bit better, and then always the idea that government's probably more stable. So when things are tough, government jobs tend to pay a little bit better maybe than what the market is and a little bit more reliable. But in a time like right now when people could leave their government job and go work at fast food and make more money, it's difficult for them to be able to keep their employees, let alone, the discussion of government employees leaving one government and going to another government to make more, or another jurisdiction to make more money.
And I had this discussion.
Starting to sound like a last one out, shut the door conversation at this point.
And then the question is, why can't Henry County keep up with other counties around us? So what is it that is allowing those government entities to be able to pay their employees more money? In this situation, it is an apples to apples comparison. You can never make the comparison with the private sector, but when the public sector is also paying more.
When you have 91 counties that aren't Marion County, you can start to make those comparisons, right? Marion County is its own damn thing with Unigov. But right. You look at all the other counties and you can truly say, hey, Shelby County and Henry County are pretty darn similar. Hancock County and Delaware County are close. Those kinds of situations where you can look at those numbers and they line up pretty close.
Right.
But the pay doesn't line up close. So, what, in your mind, what's the difference here? Is it because our population is stagnant or what?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. That would be a good question to find out why these other counties have more income, why they are able to pay their employees more. I don't know. I know I've always sort of felt that, our budgeting process, I didn't think was the best. It was sort of adversarial. And then you always have the issue with government where, nobody wants to give up their budget because if you give up any money, you're never going to get it back. It's always that it's never been like a healthy, in my mind, the time that I was at Henry County, that I felt that the budget process was a good process. I never felt that there was with the people that were the county council and the commissioners that were trying to set those budgets, I never thought that there was good conversation with those departments to try to figure out ways to maximize their budgets, find ways that they can, I don't want to say cut, because I think that's part of the problem. All I've seen the whole time I'm over there is the answer has always been cut.
Yeah, department heads think that they're being asked to cut.
Well, that's because that's the only answer has always been to cut. So where, and the savings try to come off of, again, going back to those benefits that we have, trying to take those, lessen those benefits, try to cut those benefits. I think that there's always opportunities to find, I don't want to say inefficiency, but maybe ways to utilize employees differently, to utilize assets differently. I know one time, and I don't remember what county this was, but there was a county that I ran into that they funded their planning and building department entirely off of their fees. So they had essentially had a non-reverting fund, and it was whatever they had raised in inspection fees, permit fees, that's what funded the next year. So there was, sort of you almost want to say an incentive for them to be doing, one could argue there's an incentive for them to gouge the public with permit fees, but there was an incentive for them to be making sure that those things were being done and followed up, because that's how they were being funded rather than out of the general fund.
You can do that if you have enough activity, right? If you have enough building, if you have enough whatever's going on, that it actually, you can have a reasonable fee and it'll generate it. But if you get to a situation where things are stagnant and you're not building a lot of houses, you're not remodeling a lot of stuff, you don't have much on the permitting side happening, then you don't have enough to cover that.
Right.
You build 20 houses a year, and all of a sudden, you start saying, "Hey, I'm going to need $3,000 to, for that permit." The numbers don't scale at that point. I think that would be the challenge that you would find. So you guys talked about population. The U.S. Census released their data today, and Henry County has lost 1.1% of its population since 2010. But which is the best in the area around us. I think Delaware County lost significantly more.
But that's only because we count prison inmates.
Delaware County lost 5% of its population. Wayne County lost 3.4. Madison lost 1.1, which is about the same as us. But if you drill down to the actual parcel area, you can see that they gained 10% which is 500 people in one area, which is exactly where the Henry County prison is. So if it wasn't for the prison population, we would have really lost population.
I believe that,
and those guys aren't buying permits, right? They count towards your number, but they're not. That's the part of it that's, I guess, that's challenging to me. Yeah, 9% increase in that census tract, which is exactly in that area. Everything else in Henry County actually went down.
So I didn't realize. So they've increased that many prisoners since when I don't remember when
2010 was the last census, right?
Yeah, so I don't remember when the
prison's been there for over 20 years. But yeah, if you look at that tract, that area or whatever, it's like 500 people increased.
Wow.
That little census tract.
And maybe that's not all prison, right?
You tell me what else has added 500 people.
Yeah, where I don't think there's been a lot of homes built in that area.
In eastern Henry County, counting the what the hell is that? Raised Cross? Is it not Raised Cross?
Yeah, there's
Van Nuys.
No municipalities essentially in the area that grew. So that gives you a pretty good idea of.
Yeah,
there's one thing there.
And our friend Clay Morgan, County Councilman Clay Morgan, said that they had an IU study that said Henry County would have an 18% decline in population by the year 2050. And that is what's projected.
Hey, one thing I will bring up.
I'll further dial it in for you. Liberty Township grew 0.1%. Blue River Township lost 9.6%. But Prairie Township grew 8.7%.
Wow.
So yeah. Dudley Township also grew 7.7. So there's something in the water in New Lisbon as well. New Lisbon area has grown significantly. But yeah, 8.7%.
Maybe we don't need an exit off of 70 there. They're doing just fine without it.
There is one out down there.
Oh, yeah, there is one. I'm just thinking of 103.
That's Spiceland Township, I do believe.
What Spiceland, did we lose or gain?
Oh, did the Darrin Jacobs people drive them away? Spiceland Township lost 4.2%. Failure.
We got Dakota.
Another failure of the
Dakota.
Jacobs administration. Honestly, Dakota was probably counted in Spiceland Township both censuses. He moved to Henry Township in between, but he was probably there for both times.
Yeah, it was.
He was both
help.
times he counted
I was in Dunreath the first time.
No help.
It was a net no change. The only thing you did is you brought another child into the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm doing my part.
It's the only growth that happened there. This has been the census report.
You mentioned Clay, and I will say give Clay credit. At the last county council meeting, I know he did bring up when there was discussion about trying to help figure out ways to find more funding. He did mention a couple of things, and that's what I think what some of the leaders in Henry County need to be looking at is. Obviously, there's something that we're not collecting in tax revenue, so they need to figure out other ways.
Good luck.
Yeah, you're not going to get very many.
At this point, I think the best hope we have is to toll 234 because it's the one road that's not completely under construction. There was a little bit of paving that went on out there, but I think we should just install our own renegade toll booths and start collecting tolls on 234 until the state steals it away. Somewhere outside of Kennard, the Kennard Toll Plaza.
It's at $2.34 per vehicle. I like the idea, Jeremiah.
That's the one hope.
It's a use tax.
That's the one hope we have. All right, so Henry County employee pay has got some work to go. We'll see if
Do you think the council's just going to keep pushing this down the road until we have no police officers anymore? Until the Newcastle City Police is also doing all of the sheriff department responsibilities?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. I mean,
I think so. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't think that they're really going to do anything about it.
I think you'll see some marginal increases, but nothing that gets you back in line with where everybody else is.
Yeah. All right. Governor Andrew Cuomo.
New York's governor finally resigned. He had about 4 scandals in a row. Super powerful about 18 months ago at peak.
Isn't it amazing?
Peak COVID scandal, standing there yelling at people.
Think about just a little over a year ago, there was discussion about
presidential candidate.
Yeah, throwing Joe off, even though he had won the primary, and saying, "Hey, what if we get to the convention and we just slide Cuomo in there?"
Cuomo is he's loud and obnoxious, and he's just what this country needs. He can debate.
He can take
Donald
on Trump. Yeah,
he's good at killing old people.
Yeah. Then he had the. Everybody was really happy with the way when it was ventilator talk. He was very boisterous, and he got a lot of headlines.
Well, what people liked was the fact that he came out there every day and told them what was going on, and I think that's what people were missing. And I mean, our governor did. I think to his credit, he did a lot of that too, which I think helped him.
Holcomb did it in Indiana tone, and Cuomo did it in a New York tone.
Right. Yeah.
Yes. And of course, being New York, he's going to have more attention on him by nature of being. But now he's been touching people inappropriately.
So there was an investigation. There were allegations that came out about 6 months ago that he was not relating well with female members of his staff. And I believe the New York Attorney's Office said he had about 11 cases of impropriety that they didn't like. They're looking at possibly pursuing some criminal charges. Mm-hmm. I believe every significant New Yorker that's elected to office as a Democrat said, "You got to go." And he said, "I won't quit." And about a week ago, he released a statement that didn't go well, Dakota.
My favorite was, that statement whenever he said that he wasn't a creep, he was just Italian.
A lot of pictures of him and his mom. He tried to, his father was the governor of New York when I was a little boy. So when I grew up in New York before George Pataki, Mario Cuomo was the governor. So there's a familiarity. So for the folks of the 80s and 90s in New York State, you had a Cuomo as your governor back in the day.
The Cuomo brothers, like their whole, that Chris Cuomo and his brother Andrew, like watching them on the news together is one of the most disgusting things you'll ever see in your life, just because of how they interact and like they joke around and they talk like, Andrew Cuomo will be like, oh, well, I've always been mom's favorite or something. And it's just like, what are we doing here? Like, why are we having the guy's brother as the media member supposed to be interviewing and grilling the governor of a state for questions? Like, and not to mention like the whole thing with Chris Cuomo, like supposedly hiding in his basement whenever he had COVID, like quarantining in his basement, but then someone found him, like took pictures of him, and he was outside looking at a new condo for him and his family. And like they took pictures of him, and CNN puts out a little small statement, like recognizing like, oh, we talked to him like about breaking his quarantine or whatever. But then they still release a big video montage of Chris Cuomo emerging from the basement of his New York apartment for the first time, like hugging and kissing his kids, like, I miss you so much, been in quarantine for the last 3 weeks. It's just, the whole Cuomo family is just a weird mess. And then you have Andrew Cuomo coming out and saying, I'm not a creep, I'm just Italian. Like, that's just who I am. He's like, I'm just more affectionate. He said, I'm more affectionate. It's how I was raised.
That get saddled with governors and statewide leadership that doesn't represent a great portion of their geography. I think New York is in that category, Illinois is in that category, and California is absolutely in that category. And you get such a polarizing, doesn't matter who the hell you are, situation where you've got guys that can just do whatever they want. You've got in my adult life, New York has got its second governor resignation because of scandal. So now you do have the first female governor in New York's history.
Mm-hmm.
So you got some lady from Hamburg, from by the Buffalo area, is going to be. I guess she was a congresswoman, and her husband's some major attorney of some sort, whatever.
It's amazing, and some of the things that he's accused of, it's bad. Like the fact that he could even, like, whoever possibly thought that him saying that it was just part of his culture and his upbringing, like sticking his hand up a woman's blouse, like up her dress.
Yeah.
And you're like,
that happens at the Italian American Society all the time.
All the time. I think
it's amazing
when people use the excuse of, I grew up in a different time. I mean, I think that you also are still in this time as well. Okay.
Yeah.
You may have grown up in a different time where something seemed, or maybe to you.
Grandpa, I mean, your great grandfather who's 94 and says, uses the wrong pronouns about individuals, isn't the governor of New York State leading a I'm sure 100,000 state employees.
Groping women in an unwanted manner is a little bit different than saying he and
colorful
she.
Language.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it is.
New York I agree with you. New York has an ability to select a certain kind of person. And it's even with Rudy Giuliani, and it's very much of the same kind of mold. I don't know what it is. And
they're like strong personalities.
Yeah, exactly. And in Cuomo, I mean, even with the Democratic Party in New York, Cuomo's not that far left. He's, more of a centrist, and
it's the leadership by intimidation style.
Yeah.
That goes back generations over there, I think. I think that's what you have.
The machine. And I think that's where he had full intentions to ride this out and just hope it goes away, or at least finish out his term. But once they started talking about impeachment, he knew he didn't have any friends. There was nobody left that he could go to, and nobody else he could bully. And
if the president is in your party and puts out a statement saying you should resign,
right?
That's pretty strong. Like,
yeah, the leadership of your House and Senate.
Yeah.
All of the, pretty much your entire congressional delegation. You have no friends left at that point.
So he's bullied all of these people for years. They have this big report that comes out. The people in New York, surveys before the report came out were still saying, over 50% were saying, he shouldn't resign. He should stick it out. After the report comes out, that number drops. So he lost the people. He lost the people he had been bullying. He starts to get the national coverage. And then I think that, there's something also to be said that the state legislature is looking at, hey, if we get rid of this guy who's causing all this controversy, we can also make history by having the first
female
governor. I mean,
why the hell did he give 2 weeks notice? That's the part that I still don't understand.
I immediately started thinking, what can he do in 2 weeks? Because there's got to be something.
There's a rule of some. He's transferring a pension.
He's something.
He's setting himself up to where there's some paperwork that needs to be filed so that he's good for life because there's a 2 week deal.
Can he pardon himself?
Yeah. I exactly had the same exact House of Cards. Something's going on here.
Who gives 2 weeks?
Did you watch the Attorney General's report?
No, I didn't see it.
It was pretty gross. I mean, it was really bad. There was so much that she was saying, and you're like, it was like, how is this just now really becoming mainstream news? Especially his interaction that he had with a New York State police officer that was part of his security detail. And he starts asking her about her age and what I wouldn't do to you if you were just a little bit older, all this stuff. And then puts his hands around her as she is trying to serve as his security detail. It's amazing. And it's like what Jeremiah was just saying, the governing by intimidation. It's impossible to hear the stories, all 11, and be like, oh yeah, this is the mindset of a man who thinks that he can do whatever he wants and pay zero consequences. And I think luckily now, I think that might have been the case 20 or 30 years ago.
Right.
But I think that one good thing about the information age that we're in is that that's not going to happen anymore.
Well, I mean, if you'll notice, what's funny is that, I don't want to say funny, it's good, is that these type of scandals are it takes, these are all still serious allegations, but, 20 years ago, this wouldn't have
done anything.
It would have had to have been something far worse. I mean, even if you look here in Indiana, with our attorney general,
Curtis Hill had a number of. I think he had his law license suspended for 30 days last year.
But he wouldn't resign.
But he never left office.
And they weren't going to force him out. I mean, they came out and the governor kind of rebuked him, and they eventually just had to get to where they had a party convention that went against him, so he wasn't their nominee. But he stuck it out.
There's a lady named Brittany Camiso who was identified in that report as executive assistant number 1 in the Attorney General's report. She filed a criminal complaint in the Albany County Sheriff's Office last week, and he said that Cuomo fondled her breast and also rubbed her backside while she took a selfie with him.
I remember that story.
So yeah, that's one of many that are potentially coming. So the flame essentially got too big, and he finally had to. And
notice the reality. Me if I'm wrong, but Curtis Hill's situation was slightly different because it was it didn't ever get physical with him.
It got physical.
Yeah, he
was in a bar and grabbed some leg, I believe, if not more.
Really?
I think it was more, and it was a state legislator.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, now I remember.
Yeah, check your Curtis Hill bingo scorecard.
Yeah, we had a big.
It actually, I think it was very similar to some of these accusations.
We covered that on 3 episodes, saying that he should resign. I remember that. Yeah,
mm-hmm. Yeah, we held Clay responsible because he was his county chair.
Yeah.
All right. So we've gone from sexual harassment to complaining about dress codes. Darrin, what happened?
In a similar vein.
What happened? Are you did you get your school list of what the kids are allowed to wear to school, and they can't wear their mouse rat T-shirt? What's the problem? What is going on in Tri School Corporation or Charles A. Beard School Corporation or wherever you're at that the kids what the hell?
Well, I brought this up because of there was a good article. I don't know if Travis wrote it, but there was a good article in the Courier that talked about this and what it boils down to. And I think this is. You see this, it's kind of cyclical with
Travis.
With fashion trends. And what I noticed, I have a 13-year-old daughter now, and so her going and shopping for clothes, it's very similar to some of the clothes that us old folks saw back in the 90s, with the crop tops and the tank tops and those type of things.
Torn up jeans.
And the torn up jeans. It's almost like they mashed up the 90s and the 70s because it has the mom jeans, the high-waisted instead of the low-waisted jeans, and the ripped
Bell
up
bottoms
pants.
are becoming a thing.
Yeah. And they're starting to get away from the skinny jeans.
Can I wear my purple and teal yet? Like my
Probably.
my
I'm just
purple,
waiting
black, and teal stuff.
I'm waiting for Gene Code to become.
Jinko.
Oh, yeah. Bring them
Not
back.
Jinko. God. Say
That's what I
water
said.
for me.
I said Jinko.
But everything
I
that's
hate him.
out there is
I just hate the way he talks, Darren.
it's because of the fashion and essentially this is what comes out and this is kind of what you're forced to buy. I know it's made it difficult for, I think, girls, especially teenage girls, to buy clothes that will meet some of the school dress code. And like I say, I think you see this in cycles. I mean, I think we were kind of dealing with it. And then, baggier clothes or larger clothes will maybe come back in fashion. But, small shorts.
Even the high school dress code states that any clothes that are too loose fitting is also
I think
okay.
that probably has more to do with like a baggy jeans type.
Yeah, it has to do with like back whenever I was coming up, and it was the super baggy jeans with the straps and the chains on them and stuff that the goth kids wore. That does anybody remember those?
I remember
the black jeans, and they had like the X straps between the legs.
Between the legs.
Yeah, like they were like supposed to look like suspenders.
So your superintendent comes up with the big shears and cuts them.
And they had like
now you're legal, kid.
They had like red stitching on them, and they don't want that, and that's supposedly a safety issue because you could be hiding weapons in your clothing.
I feel like most of the, I mean, and maybe this is just my point of view, but I feel like most of the dress code issues have more to do with or focus more on girls' fashion. I mean, obviously, there's always the inappropriate, like you're not going to wear something that has foul language on
alcohol,
the shirt,
tobacco,
that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then with the baggy clothes, maybe that affects the boys that are wearing baggy jeans. But it tends to be more of an issue with girls showing off too much skin, and that all boils down to it's a distraction. So, I mean, to me, and again, I'm kind of like fighting this a little bit because now as a father of a teenage daughter and some of the stuff that she's bought, I've immediately been like, oh my God, you're never leaving the house. But at the same time, I don't want to be that guy. I want her to be able to express herself, and I want her to be able to wear clothes that are fashionable.
So that's the conversation of, okay, you as a parent make one decision. Cool. I think it's fine. I'm okay with her wearing that. So at that point you say, okay, the school, look, school, as long as I'm okay with it as a parent, I think it's fine. School should look the other way. That's essentially the conversation you're.
Not necessarily, because there's a lot of kids out there whose parents just don't give a damn. So,
but parents not giving a damn is also a parent's choice too, right? I mean, that's sad to say, but again,
it is. But then you're putting all that responsibility on the teenage girl, and they're not going to always make the best decisions.
But I mean, the argument that is a distraction, again, it boils down to that they're distracting the boys. And to my mind, it doesn't matter what a girl wears.
Let's be cognizant. The year is 2021. They could be distracting the boys or the girls, Darren.
Oh, that's true.
But
you're going to have your Democrat card revoked if you don't talk correctly.
We say it can cause a distraction, but also I think part of it is teenage boys, and a lot of times, like you can also be looking out for the safety and well-being of the teenage girl because there's a lot of parents, like we know that we need to be teaching teenage boys like a woman can dress how she wants, and you don't, and it is your responsibility to not be a predator because she is dressing how she wants. You can also dress how you want and be free in expressing yourself as well. And let her do her thing. You can do your thing. But like we were talking about with a lot of parents that don't give a damn about what their teenage girl wears, there's a lot of parents that don't give a damn about what their teenage boy does.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the argument does boil down to it's this idea that teenage boys are animals and can't control themselves in any fashion. And I mean, and obviously there's always going to be predators no matter what. And we just got done talking about Andrew Cuomo, and obviously what he was doing was inappropriate.
This feels like something we've talked about as a culture for 70 years. I feel like school dress codes have been an issue since the 50s, the 1950s.
And part of it is because it's not necessarily like we're far away from what we're even talking about, because I think that the things that become distracting or become an issue for a teenage boy with zero self-control who's never been taught decency, we're far away from that whenever we're talking about what women just normally wear and school dress codes. Because like the school dress code says you can't have any freaking rips and tears above the knee.
Right.
You can't have shorts that are 2 inches above the knee. Like I wear shorts that are 2 inches above the knee every day of my life. And whenever I'm exercising,
at this
I'm
point,
breaking a school
first of all,
dress code.
there's a goddamn foot between your shorts and your knees right now.
Yes. I wear short shorts whenever I am exercising.
Well,
I prefer it.
But not just you, but think about
Larry
this.
Bird could never go to school. I'll tell you that.
Well, I mean, and so here's the requirements of the dress code, but yet at the same time, if you go to a football game and the cheerleaders, the skirts are shorter than what would be allowed to be wearing during the day if it was some non-school uniform, or if you go to a volleyball game.
I was going to say, you turn the Olympics on and go watch ladies volleyball.
Don't even worry about the Olympics. Just go to a local school and you're going to see the same thing. I know. I don't know if they've changed the uniforms, but back the track team, like the boys' shorts were shorter than what you've got on now. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
So it's okay to be sanctioned if it's a sport, but wearing it during school is somehow going to be distracting.
I don't understand that. I haven't really understood that since I was in high school. Because, like, I mean, women's shorts, it's not like, I mean, what I was saying before is we're far away from that, because there's a normal woman's fashion would be what? A 4 to 6 inch inseam on the shorts.
Hell if I know.
If you see a girl who actually wears shorts that are almost down to the knees, it looks odd.
I think they're all in yoga
expensive
pants
odd.
now. I don't know.
So you're like, it's like a 4 to 6 inch, because I wear like a 6 inch inseam whenever I'm exercising. These shorts are an 8 inch inseam, and they come down to about 2 inches above the knee whenever I'm like standing up. And
That's for the Patreon.
okay. And so I think a 4 to 6 inch inseam would be like a reasonable assumption. And that's totally different than just shorts, like booty cut shorts.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Which is what would cause the issue. So it's like, why don't we just kind of, I don't know. I don't understand why a school board doesn't see that.
It is weird where we draw these
make the
lines at
change.
too, where something is acceptable but not. You go to a water park and you see someone walking around in a bathing suit and you don't think anything about it. You see someone walking around in a bathing suit.
Yeah, but we don't expect you to
Walmart.
learn Algebra 2 in the water park, Darrin.
True.
I don't. I'm playing devil's advocate.
Yeah.
To me, I guess
I mean,
where I'm
it
coming
is a
down on
point.
this,
It is a
where
good
I'm coming
point.
down on this is, sure, have whatever loose framework you want, but if you have somebody that's truly causing a problem and repeatedly is causing a distraction, that's when you have to have a conversation. I guess I look at it, education as more of an individual item anyway.
Right.
So if you have a problem with a student that's causing a distraction or causing themselves harm, then that's the point where you have to step in and work through that and come up with a plan to deal with that issue. But whatever, come to school, come get educated, deal with it if it's a problem. Man, I was homeschooled too, so what the hell do I know?
Yeah, the problem is that you have to have a set of guidelines so that it can be applied uniformly.
Sure.
You
Yeah,
can't just
because you're going to have this fight about, it's arbitrary or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's where I think you have a standard, hey, we want this, or whatever, and then we don't force the issue until it becomes a problem.
Yeah. But not a freaking 2 inches above the knee. That's an insanely long pair of shorts. I don't even...
Listen, they're just preparing them
like
for the real world where you can't wear shorts to work. You can't wear shorts to work. Unless you're going to be the UPS guy, Dakota. You can't wear shorts to work.
The UPS guy probably couldn't pass the dress code in most of these schools because his shorts are too small.
And the rips above the knee, I don't understand that either, unless you've got a rip that's literally on your butt cheek. And even then, like if you've got underwear on, why does that matter? Not too loose, I understand. The problem, like you're wearing a freaking trench coat, you can hide a damn AR-15 in that thing, and no one would know. So I understand that, but the not too tight. That is incredibly arbitrary. They're saying like in leggings.
I think and the point.
Hey man, I'm retaining water. Leave me alone.
The point that was brought up in the article.
I'm bulking.
Was parents complaining that there just wasn't anything that they could buy. That they go to a mainstream store, this is what is for sale for their daughters to wear, and it wouldn't meet the dress code.
And maybe, I don't know if it's a different time now than when the dress code was written. This is the same dress code that was in whenever I was in school, by the way. And it was rarely actually enforced.
Yeah.
I never saw it. Like, I don't remember all the girls that I grew up with having shorts that were 2 inches above the knee.
I think it's some of us just the cycle of fashion, and then and I'm sure it's always, and this may be something that they're cracking down on because it's the first couple of weeks of school, and it will be a non-issue down the road. Or I've never understood. Can someone answer this question? Why the issue with wearing a hat in school? I never understood that. Did they had the
You can't wear a hat in school? Hell if I know. I don't know.
You paid.
Yeah,
usually you had to pay to wear a hat. Like on a special day, whatever, Spirit Week, you could pay $1 to wear a hat.
It's like flip-flop Fridays or whatever.
Right.
You could wear a hat to school on certain
But
occasions.
you weren't allowed to wear a hat through the regular week. I never got that. I never understood what the point of that was. But
They're trying to prevent baldness.
It's like wearing a hat in church. It's a sign of disrespect.
Oh shoot!
It used to be. It used to be.
I think ban it on all school property.
I honestly think it probably is the respect thing.
Okay, then
I
why,
think so, too.
then
I
why
think
is
it's
it
an
that
Does the baseball team pay for game day?
So why is it that a member of the public comes into a basketball game and you don't tell every man who walks in to take his hat off?
Yeah.
I guarantee you're going to see a lot of hats in this community in a basketball gym.
Most of them are going to say IMI.
Some John Deere.
I remember when I was in high school, a lot of the basketball players, like on Fridays that you had a game, you were allowed to wear your uniform to school. And the baseball players would always wear their hat along with their uniform. And it was never a big deal. And also in certain classes that I had, like I had some ag classes. I was a member of FFA.
I was going to say, I feel like if you had an ag class, they'd let you wear your hat.
And
You should be able to carry a
Dan
knife.
Webb's not going to give a damn.
Dan Webb always lets us wear a hat in FFA and an ag class. And I believe, man, this is really stretching far back for me right now.
Way back in
It's
the
like-
1997.
And
Back when Dakota was 1.
who else? Oh, John Dungan, but who's not a teacher anymore, in my engineering class, who would let us wear hats. So that rule is loosening, I think. At least it was 7, 6, whatever, how many ever years ago?
So what is it? You've got it in here. So what's your stance on school uniforms? What do you think? What do you guys think about school uniforms?
Personally, I don't think it's a bad idea if the school provides the uniform.
If they provide it.
If they provide it, I don't think that you should. If you want a uniform, then I don't think a parent should have to pay for it. But I think that it's this thing where there's a lot of kids who their family doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
And it seems like tradition with most middle class and upper middle class families where before school you go out with a parent or a grandparent or something and you get some new clothes for the new school year. There's a lot of kids who are still wearing the same clothes that they were wearing 3 years ago, and now their pants are about 5 inches too short.
Siblings' clothes.
They were wearing their brother's clothes, yeah.
Yeah.
Or sisters.
And that kind of takes care of that issue, and it takes care of those awkward conversations.
Until my son got
things
too tall,
like that.
I was wearing his clothes.
My dad used to call them hand-me-ups.
So I think that is a really good thing about school uniforms. I think that the bad thing about school uniforms is that I made some friends whenever I was in high school by wearing like band T-shirts that I bought at concerts. And you're like, oh man, you listen to Flogging Molly too, or whoever. And, you know, and you can also...
Oh my God, I love that Edmund Fitzgerald T-shirt.
you can do a little bit
Let's
of
go to Whitefish Point next summer together.
Yeah, no one ever invited me.
Way to bring it back around.
Hey, that's my job here.
You have some self-expression whenever you get to choose your own clothing.
I don't care. Whatever. I just don't care
think
that
it's,
much.
you know, six one way, half dozen another. Whenever Jackson's in school and they want to do
You're going to dress him all in
uniforms,
black anyway.
okay.
He's going to be a little Johnny Cash. You're going to have him wear a black T-shirt, black jeans, and he's going to go to school every day.
He's going to be a weird kid.
I saw a TikTok today, and it was two parents, and they had some tattoos on them, and they were like in the kitchen cutting up vegetables and stuff. And then it said, whenever our son, when our son hits his emo phase in high school, and then it was Blink 182 came on, and it was like, where are you? And they ran to the bedroom door and like were listening, and they started like tearing up. And I was like, oh God, that's going to be me. Like, because I was that kid in high school that was wearing like all black and the Devil Wears Prada and getting in trouble because my jeans were too baggy.
I rebelled.
Had long hair.
I rebelled in high school by not smoking weed. So I'm just completely different.
I didn't smoke weed in high school either. And I was dressing like that, and I was a member of FFA.
You wore your FFA jacket with your Jinko jeans.
I never got a jacket. I wasn't in long enough. I just did FFA because I loved the trips to the farms.
Like to do the soil sampling?
I did soil judging competitively, and I also loved the beef sticks. So I was on board with the FFA.
Just
Big
in
money.
it for the beef sticks.
Big money and beef sticks. All right, it's time for final thoughts.
And with soil judging, you could carry a pocket knife at school. So I was in for that too.
See, now you're weaponized. Darrin, thanks for coming and hanging out with us, man.
Hey, no problem.
What, you got anything to promote? Anything going on?
No, nothing to promote.
You going out to the Moreland Free Fair this week at all?
No, maybe this weekend. I actually haven't even thought much about
Indiana State Fair and none of that stuff?
it. You know, we haven't gone to the state fair. My niece was in a band at Blue River, and that was the last time that we went. So that was probably 3 or 4 years ago.
What?
So,
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it out there this year. I typically do, but this is not, it's not happening for me this year.
I love the state fair. I never went to the state fair growing up. I didn't go to the state fair until I started dating Audrey, and her family went. And I'm like,
I mean,
I've been missing this my whole life. Like, I love it.
It's generally a weekend activity for us.
Yeah.
I'm not burning a vacation day to go to the damn state fair.
Oh, no, I will.
And recognize that I spend about 10 days in July at county fairs anyway. So I've had a lot of time at fairs, but I will try to go out to the state fair usually one weekend. But I'd had 2 in Nashville, and I've got the Indianapolis Motor Speedway this weekend. So the 3 weekends of the Indiana State Fair, I am booked up. Not happening.
What a shame.
But that's okay. Well, thanks for joining us anyway, Darrin.
no, this has been fun. I can't wait to tomorrow. I'm going to put the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald on my playlist and just listen to it over and over again.
Just all day long.
Crying a little bit.
Spotify.
It does. It gives you cold chills. Just wait.
I got to buy a T-shirt now. All right, Dakota, what do you know?
I'll Venmo you for it. I will. I really will. If you go, then like seriously.
Oh, I'm going to vlog the whole
want
thing.
A t-shirt.
I think it's in such a remote place that I don't think I can get a cell phone signal. I have to record it to my phone and upload it when I get back to the mainland.
I gotta listen to the song on the way home now. Like, God, it's such a good song.
I need you to listen to Sundown.
Do I
for me
really
too.
need to listen to other songs by him?
Yeah. You need.
Are they
Carefree Highway and Sundown?
Are they as good?
They're different.
I like Sundown.
Yeah,
They're different.
it's a good song about a prostitute.
It's no wreck of a ship.
Can I read about who the prostitute?
Oh my God!
You can imagine anybody. You can imagine anybody.
You looking at me for final thoughts?
This is episode 218. That's generally what we do.
Well, you usually like say, "What do you have?"
I did. You ignored it.
Oh.
You just went back to the recommended Fitzgerald. Completely fixated.
Just looking forward to listening to the song. I want to give a shout out to Zach Lohorn at Underdog's Tattoo Gallery. He did a great job on my most recent tattoo. but I also have a couple more appointments coming up. I have this one on Monday was the first of 4 tattoo appointments in 6 weeks for me with Zach.
Yeah, the reason we're dark, we're doing a show next week, and then we're dark for a week, and it's because you're getting another tattoo, and I'm going to go get you a T-shirt for the Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald up on Whitefish Point.
Oh, is that when you're going?
That's when I'm going.
Oh, yes. That's soon. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's like I leave a week from tomorrow
Nice.
for the grand journey.
Man, I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. But yeah, shout out to Zach.
He is just
So
gone.
distracted.
He's completely
So
gone.
distracted.
All right. Final thoughts for me. My last big racing weekend of the year is coming up. This is it. This Saturday is the end of it for me. Full day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway and at racetracks in Indy cars on track. We're going to watch them race at 1:00. I think the NASCAR Cup cars are going to practice first time on the road course. The Xfinity cars are going to run a race, going to bolt out of there, run out to IRP or ORP or Indianapolis Raceway Park, whatever the hell you want to call it now, Lucas Oil Raceway. And our guy Kyle Robbins is running 2 of the 3 USAC races out there. So he's got a Silver Crown car and his pavement sprint car. We're going to watch him run out there. So I'm going to see 4 major sporting events, 4 major races on Saturday. It'll be a good time. With that, we're going to end the audio, and I think Dakota's probably going to eat a habanero pepper. We'll see what happens. We'll catch y'all next Thursday.